Hi, this is Hi Bob Poor Bob, and we're about to play some Ultimate General Civil War.
Hello, and welcome back. Today, we are going to get onto the camp for Gaines Mills. So, we're going one more into politics. I think after this one, I'll put the last two in politics, and then we're going all medicine from there on out until we get that filled, and then we'll do economy after that. It's amazing how many guns I can still buy without putting points in economy. It's kind of weird. But politics gets you, 2.5% more money for every single one? And this only saves you 2.5% money? So economy is just absolutely worse than politics, except for that economy doesn't give you excess manpower if you don't want excess manpower. Does that all make sense? So, economy is just worse. Period. If you're using money for anything besides buying guns, it's worse. If you're selling guns, obviously economy is good. But why would you be selling guns whenever it's difficult to even outfit our entire army with guns? That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. Next step is we're going to want pretty much all of these guys. And the reason why we want them all is because we're going to need that many units pretty much. So we'll just buy all of those. We might have to buy some 0 bar majors at the end, but it'll be fine. And before then, okay, so now we need to buy the rest of the Springfields to get us up to 2,500. And I don't see any reason to not go ahead and just buy the Lorenzes now. We have already bought all the scoped and the non-scoped Whitworths. We don't need Sharps or Colts. We are going to buy Palmettos, but I don't know exactly how many I'm going to want, so I'll leave that for later. The only thing I might want is 10-pounder Parrots. That's 10 grand. That's a little bit much. We can wait for that and see where we fall for our 10-pounders. We don't have any in stock, but we do have some on units, and we could also buy the 10-pounders here if we really wanted to. We have 18 points though, so we could get the money or the men. That could be kind of cool to get. I don't think we need that much more money though. But we could get both of these. I think this actually works out to be a whole lot of money. Almost more money than you get in the other, even at this point. I'd have to look to make sure that I'm not speaking incorrectly. It would be... Let's see here. We're looking at 750 of them times the amount that they're worth. So Fayetteville's to buy are 113, so to sell it would be 60 approximately. I mean, obviously it's going to be a little bit less than 60, but that's 45,000 right there. So it will, their value as a bought item is 90,000, but as a sold item it's 45,000. So those are more worth the money than the money is based on the number of points per thing. So it might be worth it to just go ahead and pick them up. I know that several other people did because they're really good sell value. We could also get another 2-star general. Man, maybe I should have gotten a 2-star general back there, a couple things, and then I wouldn't have had to try to train up this guy to 2 stars. I didn't even think about the fact that I could have gotten a major general, and then I could have gotten this guy even closer to being 3 stars if I had had another 2-star, since this guy doesn't have the perk that I want.
Sorry,
Man, that makes me feel kind of special. I'm not gonna lie. Probably should have done that. So, you guys out there, definitely try to do that. If you know, are struggling to get another 2-star. Normally, I should have had this guy be whatever I wanted, but I didn't start from that early in the campaign with his mod. So, I didn't get that benefit, which is fine. Okay. So, the next step is we're going to go through here and we need to use up all of the breeder generals and colonels, and we're just going to go ahead and fill out the rest of the army. I think it would only be 20 units and 10 units, so we could go with just doing that many. That should be fine. So just one more colonel. Should be fine. Okay, so the next piece is we want to use up all of these men that we can. Let's oops, wrong button. So what I'm doing is I just like to move all my best guns up here so that as I'm filling up these other things, I don't get confused about how many guns I really have that will be used in the actual battle. I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I do. I like moving my guns around and like putting the worst guys with the worst weapons so that I don't get confused about who my worst guys are. I can just look at their guns and tell, yep, these guys are the bad ones. Okay, so these guys are 2 stars, so they're going to be good to go. Those guys are 2 stars. This guy I think might get to 2 stars. Yep, he's a 2-star guy. And neither one of those. This guy's pretty much already a 2-star. I mean, he needs a little bit of help, but he's pretty good. And then we got those guys. And we have... those guys are just base. Well, no, they're a little bit above base. They're not just base guys. So now we're building out the rest of the base guys that we can. Okay. 1,361. 1,361. Okay. And 866 left. We can do it here. 866. Okay. So now we have completely used up all of the not good manpower that we have. And we are ready to start breaking good things down. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down all of the good, the not very good artillery. Like, it's like 1 3/4 star. Because we want to have 2-star artillery for this next battle. So then we can take all those guys and we'll pour them into this guy here. I mean, obviously we got to pour a few more into somewhere, but the majority went there. Okay, then we'll move that there, and we will create a new infantry brigade with the rest of these guys in it. 821. So basically what it is we're keeping guys that don't have any experience, any extra experience, these guys, separate from everybody else, so that we don't get confused about where. So these guys have some experience, but not a whole lot. So now I'm going to pause it for a minute while I go look at all my infantry units and get them all sorted by how good they are. So I already went ahead and tested this. These guys and these guys, whenever you break them down, will do the perfect thing for me. What I want is to be able to come over here and go to an artillery brigade, use a low ranking 2-star, and make a cannon unit. Let's go 212. So we'll buy 2 6-pounders. with 2 stars. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. So let's build another one. Artillery. Let's go 12 and a 2-star. I think any 2-star will do. Yep. So 0 experience. That's good. It's right where we wanted to be. It is a little bit higher whenever you're using a higher unit, but I think it's still worth it. So this guy could come up to, what was he at? He was at 7. So we could go to 12, yes, and 12 would be fine. Let's do that. I'll buy 1 unit there. And it should be fine. It's not too much money. And, nice even numbers of 12. So we have 8 24-pounders. We've got 10 10-pounder parrots. Okay, so I think on these, I want to go with 9. And then let's build another one of 9. See if we have another one. Yeah. Okay. And then we need some more 2-star guys. So we're going to come down here and we're going to steal them. Because pretty much all our 2-stars are going to go for this. Okay. Not literally all of them, but a good number of them we'll need for this. So just going to go ahead and take most of them just so that we have them for now. Kind of want to use up these guys so that it's easier to get to the other guys. Should have done that right off the bat. Okay, so now we go with another artillery brigade. We go with 7 and 8. Let's do that. There's the 8. And then we got a 7. Let's go 2 8s. Just go with it. It'll be fine. And then we could go with going ahead and getting those and those. Which then we would go ahead and go in here, do this. And let's go to 9 with these as well. Okay. There's that. So all these artillery units are 2 stars now, which is perfect. Exactly where we want them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to go infantry brigade and go ahead and do 1,041. So that leaves me with 200 men. Actually, we want to have 300 men. So, well, actually, probably go ahead and use up all of these. Okay. Because the next guys that we want the best guys we can. So these are the highest percentage guys that I could get. So what we're going to do is we want to have only 300 of them in our pool. So we do 2,097. The reason why we only want that number in our pool is because we want to turn around, go down here, and we can grab Force unit, and we can disband that, and we're going to find something out. Well, one second. I'm going to go ahead and save. So they are this close to being 3 stars. So I could find generals that are high enough to get them to be 3 stars. But what I'm thinking about doing is going back and only doing 100 men. And then I'll have 2 that are 3-star that have the telescopic sights. And then 1 will be just the regular Whitworths.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to pause and we'll be right back again. Okay, and I'm back now. So what I ended up doing was I actually did 300 from the cavalry unit and then 200 from that really good unit. And with a mid-range colonel, we got the 3 stars, and then with a upper range colonel, we got the 3 stars, and then a no-bar colonel got us this guy with 2 stars. So we're looking at having a pair of 3-star snipers already. So I think that's pretty strong. The 10% extra range, like, seems pretty good. The whole thing seems pretty good, so we should be able to use these guys to really great effect, I think. Along with all these 2-star artillery units as well. And another, backup sniper unit that we can use from place to place. Obviously, he'll have shorter range because he's using Whitworth, and then even shorter range because he's using doesn't have that 3rd perk. So we're looking pretty good on this in this area. I am gonna have to play around with what perks I want for all my artillery. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of thinking about it a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and break down that guy. So we've got all these guys done. Go ahead and go back up to 400 with those guys. We can go 350 for free. Well, not free, but we've got the guns for it. And then just 500 for the other. But we don't quite get enough experience from that. Let's see there. 91. Do we get enough experience at 400? Not at a 3. Not at a lieutenant colonel. Let's go with like a low bar colonel. See what that does for us. That gets us to 95 to begin with, and at 50 is still not quite enough. 99. So let us go ahead and come back over here. These guys should be about the same level. Close enough. 445. Okay, and then go ahead and break down these guys and come back over here and see if these 50 can get me to, look at that, those 50 get me there. So that's what we're gonna do there. I'm thinking one more melee cav. That's what I'm thinking. So we could come over here and look and see 48 melee, 50 melee. And then what do we have here? 43. So yeah, so we'll use up what we have on hand. 2147. 2147. And go with, where was the 50? There. Wow. And we didn't use like a perk that gave him that, so it's all, well, I think it's 45. Yeah, because the perk of this guy is to give him +5 melee. So we can come over here. We'll go cavalry. We go with palmettos. We've got 66 of them already on hand. Couldn't even get enough of them anyway. So we go 350 with a Probably go get a 2-star. Should be fine. Let's see if we can find a 2-star that'll work. I was busy playing around with all the brigadier generals to see which ones would work with that last bit, so I kind of mixed them all up again. Okay. So there we go. There is 3 melee cavalry. Kind of want a 4th. Let's go ahead and go with 4. Just to get an even 4 going here.
Yes, sir.
You go grab some more 2-stars.
Sir, yes, sir.
Because for some reason this guy's got a brigadier general, and we don't need a brigadier general on that, do we? Oh wow. I thought that we had enough experience on these things that there we go. Okay, that's fine. Let's move our cavalry down and our artillery up out of the way. Okay. So we've got our 3 units, and we're going to go for another one of palmettos. Cavalry, palmettos.
Yes, sir.
350 again. I'm not sure how much I'll use these guys, all 4 units, but I like my melee cav in these big battles. I don't use them much in the smaller battles except in very specific circumstances, but I think they have their place. I'm going to name up some units and I'll be right back. So I went back and looked, and I realized that I had almost forgot to build one of my 24-pound howitzers. That would have been sad if I had gone in 1 down from what I could have been. So now what I have to do is I have to decide how many of these units I'm going to mix in, how many units I'm going to just keep separate, and exactly how many units I need. So the general rule of thumb from Pandakraut is that you need 20 units total in your first corps. Sorry for that bump. I'm reading notes and hand gestures kind of comes with the territory for me. The last 5 of them come in extremely late, but the first 15 come in pretty early. So you want 15 good units and 5 not so good units for your second corps, which is going to be my 3rd corps, but the second corps that you're bringing in. The last 5 come in pretty late, so the first 5 can be good units. And then for your final corps, you only get 10 units in, and then the last 5 come in rather late, and then the next 5 come in rather late, and then after that, then the last 5 don't come in at all. So you need a total of 15, 5, and 10. So that brings our total to about 30 units that we need to bring in that are good. The remainder of the total of 50 units that we're going to be bringing are going to not be very good. So 20 units of basically just extra junk and 30 units that are good. So my problem at this point is that I've almost got 20 units right here that don't have any infantry in them. So some of these units are not going to be coming in with the main unit, most likely. Like, they're going to be coming in real late, like, just by necessity, because I can't not have enough infantry. Like, that's just not going to be a thing in this playthrough. We're always going to make sure and bring enough infantry to get the job done. Not ever going to be a problem. So now I have these guys which are high level here. So I need to decide how many of these units I'm going to use and how many of these units I'm going to use only as basically filler. 1 second, I'll be right back. This is just to kind of show you the process that I'm going through here. So I have basically looking at my generals, and I've diluted this down to the point where they just barely make the cut for being a 2-star, and I can make this many 2-star brigades with that. Of course, towards the end though, I've got some of these higher brigadier generals that then would allow me to go ahead and use a few extra men, and I think I'm going to use a major general in one of these brigades as well, so that would allow me to push that just a little bit further with some of those final units. So what I'm going to go through and do now is basically fine-tune what I've done doing. So I've actually got 500 man brigades here, and I think I might even break down another one of these and split out like 5 100 man like skirmisher units, and then put back this 2,000 man infantry unit up here. Then I'll have those 100 mans that I can break down and test each one to see how many men I can fit in before the next brigadier general won't have enough experience to get to 2 stars. This is going to be a very long and very time-consuming process that I don't think you guys want to watch the whole thing. I will get the first one set up, and then I will do it to show you what I'm doing, and then after that, I'll do it all behind the scenes. Okay, I know I said I'd show you the first one, but I'm going to show you the second one instead. So, in this one, the command is 61 in my previous one. And then you can see that the command in the next highest one now is 62. So they get just a slight amount of experience more. So what we're going to do first is actually we're going to save it so that we don't mess anything up. Okay, so we're going to try with 100 first. And see if that works. If it doesn't work, then we'll just have to stick with what we've already done. Okay, that does work. So then we can come back over here and do another 150 and see if that works. I should have 2 100s, but I don't. I could reload and use a 200 and see if that works.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. And that knocked it down. So we need to reload and go with just a straight 200 this time. And just see if that works. Okay, that works. So now we know a 200 works. We could try like a 100 and then make a 125, but we'd have to use up all of our men. Use up all of our men. We'll go back to the last save. Use up all of our men, then go back down here, delete like a 200 and a 100 and make a 225. And then, you know, the leftovers, and see, well, actually it had to be 150 and a 200 so that you'd have 100 left to then make your last one. And then you'd have to keep doing that until you found the exact number of men. I think within the nearest 50 or 100 is probably close enough. It's not going to make that much difference in the long run, most likely. But the more dilute that you can make it earlier, the better,
Yes, sir.
because then your men will last longer towards the end. Okay. Go with a Springfield. Another thing that might have been a good idea was that what I had talked about before, where I could do like 3 slightly over 2,000 units of the Harbor's Ferries, and that would allow me to get more units out while not using up as many men. That might be something I try after I get done doing this. Okay, so that's the basic idea here, and I'll be back when I'm done. So it's been about 3.5 hours since I paused my recording. It has been a doozy, I'm not gonna lie. I spent a long time trying to figure out how to get all this to work out. And what I ended up coming up with is all of this. I'm going to take one more break. I'm going to rename everything, and I'll be back with the final at that point. Got all my cores filled out. Okay, and we're back. So we've got 3 Harbor's Ferries. We have 4 infields. And we have 5 Lorenzes, I believe. 4 melee cav. 10 fillers that are 500 to 700. This one is 700. We have a mix of 6 and 12 pounders, 4 of them, and then a 2 24 pounders. We have 4 2,000 man Mississippi units. They're all, well, 3 of them are 1 star, and this one is not. And then, so what ended up happening is I went with this number so I could actually run myself out of infields. And I went with this number so I could run myself out of Harbor's Ferries and actually pull off getting 3 good units of Harbor's Ferries instead of 2 full units, and then I'm short good guns for my 2-star units. I have 31 2-star and 3-star units, because these 2 are actually 3-star. The rest of them are all, of the 31, it's all 2 stars. And then of course I have the 10 fillers are all 0-star, and so is this Mississippi. So 11 no stars, and then the 4 Mississippis are 1-star, and then everybody else is 2 or 3-star. So we're looking pretty good here on unit size and composition. I might need to move around some units once I get in there and I start fighting and I see where everybody spawns in and things. I might need to move some units, but for the most part I feel pretty comfortable with this. Unit sizes are good size. These are really good size for hitting that 100 and 1,850 or 1,875, because whenever you pull off your detached skirmishers, you go down to about 1,900 with this unit. So it really gets you real close to that max size that gives you a benefit in the base game. And that's one of the reasons why I felt pretty good about going with this size. I have full supply and only 5,000 left over. Part of the reason why I only have 5,000 left over is because I bought 200 hunters on accident. That's like 4K right there that I just spent for no reason on accident. Yeah, I was pretty mad, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize it until I was almost done, and by then it's just too late. So all these fillers have Springfields, and the, everybody's pretty much ready to go. I think I already said this, but politics 8 is where I want to be. I don't think I need any more guns unless I was going to buy like a few thousand in Mississippis, and I just don't think that 300 Mississippis is going to change my game any, so I think I'm going to leave that be. There is one more thing I want to show you before I let you go. So you just saw that, and then this right here for gain, this is my old run. So to compare and contrast here, I have my 4 Mississippis, just like in that one, just like in my other one. So then I've got 2 Springfields here. I've got my I think I still have 3 snipers, but none of them are 3-star. And then, of course, these are all just filler units again. And then we go over here. Those are the... I didn't have as many men in this one, so I had to do some more of the little bitty guys than I did before. I think I actually moved those guys here because these guys don't spawn in, so I moved them to be those guys and basically just reversed this. And so these are just a bunch of junk guns. In my new playthrough, like, most of these are 12 in a thing. The Napoleons, I think I only had 3 of, so I didn't actually make a unit of Napoleons, but I think I did 2 12-pounders and 2 6-pounder that were 12 each. And then we've got these blocker units. I don't have really a corresponding unit for this. I just used more men in my regular units. So I have 1 Harper's Ferry, 2 infields, 3 Lorenzes. So in my new playthrough I have 3 Harper's Ferries, 4 infields, and 5 Lorenzes, if that is anything to compare with. And I think in this one I don't have a 3-star because I had already lost some men on this rifle cav and had replaced them with just rookies. So in this one I have 5 2-stars here, and then I think just 5, 6, 7. Thought I had 1 more 2-star. There it is. Okay, so I had 8 2-stars compared to the 31 2 and 3-stars in my new run. I did have 22,000 money left, so I did have more money left, but less stuff. So now we're going to change over here. I know this is not exactly exciting to everyone, but there's the how many 2-star guys I have. I had bought farmers and reboards because I didn't have enough money to actually really buy real guns in the numbers that I needed. And I have more Springfields in my new playthrough, but I had bought Palms in my old playthrough. Same on Mississippi's, more MJ&Gs, of course, still for the same reason. Quite a few more Lorenzes in my new playthrough. Quite a few more infields. Quite a few more of the... Oh, that's one thing. 1855s. Is I have a unit of 1855s somewhere in that mess. Maybe I accidentally misnamed them something else. I can't remember. Harper's Ferries. I've got all of that. Maybe one of those Lorenzes is actually a 1855. Sharps 55. So then you just kind of come down through here, and that's the number of different guns that I have. Pretty similar on the 12-pounder. We've got, oh, and these parrots, I bought 9 more parrots, so that put me up to 27 instead of the... I wasn't sure if I was going to buy those or not, but I ended up buying them, so... And that's 24. Oh no, that's 24 too. Okay. And then here's my manpower stuff again. I think this needs to be zoomed in a little bit, if it can be. I think it was hard for me to read it on the thing, from what I can remember. I don't usually use this though, so it's hard for me to remember how to zoom in on... It'll be fine. Just have to make sure and look at it at 1080p probably to be able to read all these. I'm a little bit ahead in officers in this one, but not by much. Just like 1 major general, 1 colonel, and 4 lieutenant colonels, and 2 majors. But I just only counted majors that weren't like brand new bought ones. So then I do have higher in my new playthrough than my old playthrough, but it's not all that staggering. I mean, I did more melee, but I actually got more firearms in the first playthrough by a little bit, but my stamina has gone up considerably in this playthrough by 11. My morale is up. So basically, the reason for both of these is because I made sure and went all the way to the timer on most of them, or at least close to the timer. So I'm down by 1 efficiency and down by 1 firearms. Everything else is up, enough to make a pretty big difference for experience on units whenever I break down all the troops that I have. The problem with this part is that I spread out my training over a lot more men in my first playthrough. I put a whole bunch more like just fresh recruits into my like run. Like I would just use fresh recruits instead of just topping up my good units with fresh recruits and maybe diluting them out a little bit on purpose. I actually just used fresh recruits, which probably cost me some men in different places just because you lose more men whenever you don't have as good of men on the field. So almost 10,000 more men had been in my army at one point or another. But obviously you can tell a huge difference in how good the men were within the army at those different times. I think this is still my old number, isn't it? Yeah, this is still my old number. I think this is more like a 90 at this point because almost everybody's a 2-star. That was one of the guys that I had trained. It's probably more like close to actually 100. It's probably actually almost a 2-star whenever you average all of them together. I don't know exactly what the number is, but it's probably pretty close. Because I think I made 28,000 over 28,000 worth of 2-star units, but that's with like brigadier generals and things like that to spread out so this is probably more like 91, somewhere in there. But overall, obviously, I'm still doing quite a bit better than what I did before. Just paying more attention to timers and making sure guys run in between things to do that. And I mean, the difference in Harper's Ferries, 1855s, and infields is the biggest difference here. Being able to field, instead of fielding 2 units, I'm fielding 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. So over double the number of rapid firing units. Obviously, some of them are a little bit smaller, but those still firing for the same amount of damage since they are right around that maximum anyway. So you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.